Well, as of this evening, NIMBY means maybe in my backyard, and is someone who is not overtly for or against development, but could well be won over to the concept of it based on being given further information and subject to certain parameters.
I think the term NIMBY is really interesting. It kind of reveals, I think, how damaging having such a sort of polarising discourse around the topic of development, particularly housing development, actually is. I mentioned during my presentation that the phrase NIMBY comes from very early attempts to smear actually people who are opposed to development, which maybe shouldn't have happened in the first place. So if you want to bring people on board and genuinely get some of that democratic involvement or improve democratic involvement in the planning system, I think it's better to move away from those kind of binary terminologies.
We have a housing crisis in this country. We have too much of a drag on the well-being of too many people in our society, and I would probably put that front and centre. There has to be a positive case for house building. We have to make trade-offs, but I think we would recognise, and most people would recognise, that they all know people who are in circumstances that they wouldn't wish to be in. They want either larger houses, or they need to be paying less for their housing so that they can have that broader quality of life that we all aspire to.
There are a lot of people out there that are just kind of going about their daily lives. They don't particularly have really strong views on policy. They're not really being heard because no one's really asking them. They're not aware that there are ways that they can get involved. And so they're there to be engaged, and we're sort of waiting for someone to ask them the question. And I think that's the kind of key point in this report, is about asking them and engaging with them.
I think the more that we can make the system visible and make people feel engaged and understanding what the choices are, I think the chance of saying yes are much greater.
I'd say this is about the next generation. It's not about you or I, it's about the next generation. And how do you want to make sure that you're securing your future for the next generation of people? That applies to the UK and it applies to Australia as well.